introductory part, that at this point it's very important. Without this, without this profile, without if you are getting this wrong, you not get any job on Fiverr. If your description is wrong, if your description is not okay, it's not possible to get any order. It's very, very, very simple. You know, when you go for interview and they will ask you some questions, how is this, how is that? Have you had any previous job? How was your relationship with the job and all those stuff? So if you're not okay, if they find out that you fight with your colleagues, they will not give you the job. So I'll be taking us through it. If you go on Fiverr, www.fiverr.com, and you've created an account already and you want to start, this is where you start from. Here is personal profile. Sorry, personal profile. You can all see it, right? That's where you put in your name and your picture. Now, the picture part, it has to look professional, because you are doing professional job. It's not Fiverr is not a place where you come just to play or just to cash cruise. No, it's a place where you come and work. You know, you are handling people's money, and you are, maybe some people will even like to maybe make an app for them, a app that they will use. Maybe maybe you are the one creating Bitcoin app, all those stuff. People will save their money there, and it's very important. It must look professional. Your name and your picture. You can all see it. It's very simple. If you go on Fiverr, these are the steps. So you create a good you put your name and you put your picture. You can also put your logo. Sorry, you can also put your logo on it. Now, the next one after that is your description. Now, this is your profile description. This is very, very important. You can all see it, right? This is your profile description. This is very, very, very important. Now, let me take you to my next slide where I will be giving you tips for the description. Now, on Fiverr, people can come all over the world just to come and buy, there. People come from not speaking English countries. So number one tip is that you must use a very basic English. You must use a very simple English that people can relate with. People don't have to struggle reading what you put there. People don't have to struggle. You don't have to go and carry dictionary just to understand what you are saying. So it must be simple and people can walk around it. No errors, and you must proofread it before going to the next stage. We are still on description. That is your profile description. So it must be simple and error proof. Okay. So the next one is that you provide them with brief information. We are still on description. So you provide them with a short introduction about you. A very short introduction about you. If you go in this a description box, you can only write 600 words. You can also see it. It's allow the limit is 600 words, and if okay, so you can only write 600 words. So you have to know what you are saying, and you have to be precise about it. Okay. The next one is talk about your experience. The person that wants to give you a job, we actually like to know. We actually want to know if you know anything about what your description is about. Okay, the gig you say you are selling, the service you say you are rendering, it wants to know if you have done it before or this is your first time. They are committing their money into your hand, and they want to be sure that you know what they are talking about. Okay, so you should talk about your experience. Also, you should focus on the customer satisfaction. You should focus on the customer satisfaction. Okay, someone wants to design an app and the person has the way you want the app to look like. You should not try and push you should not try and push what you have in mind to him. You already have the description, you already have the, maybe he already has the UI and the US already, and he's trying to show him. You don't have to be correcting him or telling him what to do or what he should have put there, unless he asks for your advice. So you are getting me? So you should focus on the customer satisfaction. Okay. Now, these are the things that you should not include in your profile description. Poor sentences and poor sentence structure and grammar. That means that you should proofread whatever you are putting there. You should make sure that they are error-free. You should make sure that they are simple English, and all these things all these tips are there. I hope you are following. Okay. The next tips now. Okay. You can all see it there. Okay, don't make mistake. Don't make Fiverr profile description for CV objective section. Okay, we can all see the box there. That's an example of someone who wanted to create a profile description. This look like a CV. This doesn't look like, this doesn't focus attention on what the buyer wants. This doesn't say anything. It said to strive for excellency in field of writing. No, that is very wrong. So we should be conscious of that. We should be sure that we know what we are saying. Okay, it said, okay, this one says, the next one says transition from I to we. Okay. You have to be constant with one. Is it I or we that you want to use? You have to make sure you use one. All these things are very, very important because the buyers, they have checked through it. The first thing they check through is your description. Don't forget your profile description to know who they want to give their, to know who they want to entrust with their money. So the first thing they look out for is your profile. So you should know all these things, all these small, small things, they take note of them. They take note of them. They want you to be professional in the way you present yourself. So we should be professional in the way we present ourselves. Now, in summary, writing a catchy profile description for your Fiverr account is extremely important. Yes. Now, I told you already that the first thing they check out for is this profile description. That means that even if you are going to get job from the person, this will determine it. This will be the first thing that will determine if that person is going to place order or not. This is very, very important. So we should try and take a careful look at it before going to the next one. To the next step of our registration. We should try and be sure that it is professional, it is error-free, and it is okay and presentable. Okay. The next one after description, after you've written description, it's language. Now, this language, they're asking you what language can you speak, what language are you good at, and they will ask you the level: fluent, basic, native, all those things. Okay, we all can speak English. Okay, you put English, fluent, and maybe you know a little of German too, or a little of French. You can just include it there. All this one will also make your gig to rank. All this one we add to your because let's say someone is searching for website developer. Let's say someone is searching for website developer from France. Now, assuming your language, you included French speaking to it, maybe basic. Now, Fiverr will include you among the search tag. Fiverr will include you among those people that will show up because you also can speak, maybe basic or fluent. Maybe you are fluent in it. So this also can help your account very, very well. Okay, moving on. We have certification here. You may decide to put it, you may decide not to put it. Okay, we have education, then certification. So you may decide to put all those ones, you may decide not to put them. Okay, So the next one now. Okay, after that one, after language, you will see they want you to link your social media. They want you to link your social media, either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You have to link one. You have to link one. Now, after that one, your personal website. If you have personal websites, they want you to link your personal website. Then after you've done all these things, you just click continue. You can all see it there. I hope you are following me so far. Now, the next thing is the skill.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you can speak, please.
We are following you. We are following you.
All right, thank you. Okay, they said list the skills related to the service you are offering and add your experience level. Now, you can also see there that one of my skill is programming. That's because I'm also rendering website development. I'm also into website development. Okay, and this is through website development in credit repair niche. Okay, so that's why I added all these things to it. Now, let's say you are doing writing, your own is writing, and you added all these things. Your gig will not rank, and it will not show up anywhere, because this is like telling me that telling someone that you can write, you are writing, but your skills are programming and all those stuff. It won't work. It doesn't flow. Now, if you are doing if you are doing writing, if your gig, if your own skill is writing, you just have to improve. All you just have to include this, maybe writing or writer. It will show up there. Just any skill, if you are writing, you know how to use Microsoft Word too, Microsoft Office. So you have to add it there, and your level, if you are expert or intermediate or just new beginner, you have to add it there, because your buyer will check all these things, and it will determine also if the person is going to place order or not. Okay, so the next one is, okay, add your number. You can see there, account security. You're going to add your number and they verify. Now you can see by my corner here, it's written 70%. Can we all see it, please? Please unmute and respond. Can we all see it? 70%. Can we see it?
If you can make it a little bigger.
Okay.
If you could just make your screen a little bigger so we can see it.
Oh, sorry.
No, the screen is big enough. I can't find any place where there is a percentage or something.
Yeah, at the bottom you can see it where his cursor is. You can see where the green is. I can see it. I can just barely see it.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
I think the skills and level is covering it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm coming.
So if you guys have questions, we're going to have a short question and answer session, after this. But again, next week, for those of you that don't have Fiverr accounts yet, we'll actually go through the process of, we'll have a working session where you can actually, as we're walking through it, you will actually go through it. If you have questions, you'll ask the questions. We'll help you to get it set up. Help with if you need information on getting your your skills correctly laid out there, so that it's hands-on, so that after next week's session you'll be ready to to be up and running. Okay, but again, this is just saying that in the global economy, we actually have to think outside of the box from where we think about in Nigeria, because there's so much that people pay for, right? That's why TikTok exists, Instagram exists, right? There's so much that people pay for in this global economy, and Fiverr gives you the opportunity to utilize a lot of skills. Okay, back to you, Peter.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we can all see that 70 now. I'm sorry, the screenshot did not cover it all. Can we all see it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this 70% means that I can now proceed to the next one. If your all you've done this morning is not up to 70%, it won't allow you to proceed. So you must input all these things, all this information are required of you. So you must put them in. So this rating, this is completion rate. So it's now at 70%, then you can continue. If you remember very well, there are some that I did not feel, I did not like this educational. I did not put anything there. Assuming I filled everything and I input my details into everything, it should be 100%. But the minimum they want is 70%. And that will require your number, it will require your skill, and it will require that you connect with one social media accounts of your social media account to it. So you must get social media account, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You must get one that you need to connect. Also, your number also must be there. Now, you can also see finish. Oh, sorry. You can also see finish. That would be the now. Okay, sorry. Now, after you've done that, it will take you to this place. This is the next step. You have done all that is required of you for your profile. Now you click on finish. Then after finish, now it will take you to this place where you create your gig. Now, a gig is a service that you render on Fiverr. That's the name they gave to it. Gig is a service that you sell on Fiverr. Now, this is where you tell them what you want to do. Let me go to the next slide. Setting up your gig. Now, a gig is a service that you sell on Fiverr. We can all see it, right? Can we all see it? Hello, please respond.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we can.
can.
Yes, we can.
Go ahead.
Okay, nice. Now, gig title. Okay, this is the gig title is what the buyer usually look at first when you want to buy your service. Now, you can see I will do something I'm really good at there. Now, let's say you can design a website. This I will do is always there, is constant. So if you want to, assuming you want to sell website developments on Fiverr, you just say, I will design a responsive website, or I will write a good article, or I will do this, I will do that. Whatever skill, I will design a good app for you, or I will I will repair your credits for you. Can we get that, please?
Yes.
Okay. I will do something. That your skill that you want to sell. The first speaker have already told us, and he has talked about the skills that we can render on Fiverr, the skills that we can sell on Fiverr. So this is where you put it. Or if you like dancing, or if you like making people happy, I will make you happy. So that's it. So out of from the categories, oh, okay, these categories you have to choose. Like let's say you are doing website now. This category, you just have to choose what's there. I'm sorry, I supposed to have screenshot for this, but I did not have. I'm really sorry. So you choose mobile development. Yes. Now for the search tag you have to put like 5 items there, up to 5. You can also see up to 5 there. Yeah. So now this search tag is we are all used to Twitter, right? It is what will also rank your gig. Let's say you are okay. Let's say you are your own gig or your own skill is writing. Now, from you, if when you once you click on this search tag, you put writing, you put writing article, or you can put writing article, article writing, article writer, or you put credit repair, or you put music. You have to put something that is related to what you're selling. This search tag will determine, maybe people will see your gig. Let's say somebody wants to is looking for someone who can produce beats, music beats, and you can do it, but because you don't know what to do, you now put credit repair or you put website development because you saw your friend doing that, your own gig will not show. No. Now on Fiverr, when you go on Fiverr, maybe next time we are doing this, I wish maybe we'll be taking you through live Fiverr. If you search for any service, there's where they Fiverr rank their services. There are some gigs that will first come, like they will list them. They will list them. There are pages, there are a lot of people that are doing it, like website now or graphic design. There are a lot of people that are doing it. Now, when you click on Fiverr, you reach Fiverr and you look for and you search for maybe graphic design, it will bring a lot of people that are doing it. Now, this search tag is one of those things that determine. It's one of those things that determine maybe your own gig will rank or not. Okay, moving on. Next slide. Okay, now we've done gig title already. Now, so scope and pricing. This is where you tell them the amount you want to charge for your services. Now we have basic, you have to now look at this 3 packages. You have to untick it. First, it will be showing one package that is basic, but when you click on it, it will now be showing 3. Now we have basic, standard, and premium. Now these are the ones that determine you will tell them, like, okay, for instance, you are doing writing. Now, under this, name your package. You now write article writing there. Then describe the details of your offering. You said, I will write 500 words for you in $5. Now, your delivery time is the time it will take you to complete the job, and Fiverr will be counting those days. If you did not finish within that time, then Fiverr it will affect your account. Okay, so your delivery time maybe is 1 day or 2 days. You put it there. Then all these informations, you may put them and you may not put them because they don't really matter that much. But if all the things you are going to, if your delivery is going to contain all these ones, you just have to tick them. Now, from this revision, you can put unlimited or you can put nothing there. You can put it there that we are not going to review them, do revision for them. But that doesn't mean that if the buyer does not like your work, he will ask for review. Yeah, if the buyer does not like your work, he will ask for review. Now, the pricing, you just put $5 since you said from your description that it is $5. Now, this $5, this basic means that maybe you are just using that one to welcome them. Then the standard, you can increase your price. Like from this description, describe the details of your offering. You can say, I will write 1,000 words for you in $20. Now, depending on the time you will be able to finish the job, and you put $20. You put $20 here, and you can select the amount of revision you would like to do for them. Also, the premium package, you can say, I will write 3,000 words for you, and you increase your pricing. Okay, sorry. Okay, you increase your price, and also, let's say you increase your price to $50. Yet also you put $50. I think that is clear enough. So moving on to the next stage. Now, we have already talked about description the other time, but that was profile description. Now, this one is your gig description. Now, it is very, very important. In this gig description, you briefly describe your gig. Be details as possible. Okay, you can see it there. Be as detailed as possible so buyers will be able to understand if this meets their needs. Yeah. In the profile description there, you only talked about yourself, your experience, and the service you want to render, and not majorly on the service, but you talked about yourself and your skill. But here you talked about the main gig. Let's say you are doing, let's say this gig is for writing. This in this place, in this brief description of your gig, you talked about writing. Why the buyer should hire you? Why the buyer should hire you? Maybe you're a level one seller, maybe you've been writing, or you tell the buyer that I will send my previous work to you. You can also include them into this place. So all these ones, they matter most. They are what make the buyer to either buy your gig or not. So this your gig description is very, very important. You should just tell them, you explain to them why he should buy you. What are the things they will gain if he should hire you? Now, moving on. Moving on. Okay. Now, the next one is frequently asked question. This is where you tell the buyer, this is where you answer most frequently asked question. Some things that the buyer do not know, maybe about Fiverr or about your gig. This is where you tell the person some questions that you think he can ask you. Okay. Now, okay, to the next one. Please, are you getting me so far?
Yes, keep going.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, the requirements is the next place. We can see from this picture, we see overview ticked, price is already ticked, already marked, description and FAQ is already marked. Then this is requirements. Now you need to fulfill all these things. You need to put all these things. It's just like telling people about what you sell. So now the requirements is where you tell them what you want. Tell your buyer what you need to start. Maybe you are developing an app and the buyer just hire you for the back end alone. I mean, the coding part. You know, the buyer must have gotten the UI already or the UX. So if we have to give you those things, this is where you tell the buyer what you need to start the business, to start the job. This is where you tell the buyer what you need to start the work he gave to you. Okay, you can add as many as possible. You just add, after you already type what you need to type, what you need to start the job, you click on add. Then the next one too, you click on add. Now, moving on. Okay, this is gallery. In the gig photo area, drag an image. Okay, now here, Fiverr sometimes can stop your accounts because of this. Now, there are some people that are already using some pictures. Some people go and download pictures from online or they will go and copy someone's gig picture. It is very wrong. Please don't do it. Now, you can create a logo or you can create your picture yourself, or you can go to Google and go and look for pictures that are not being used by another seller on Fiverr to use. Now, on this place, use a picture that describe your gig. Now, if you are selling, if you are a designer, let's say website designer, you should know what your gig, what your pictures will look like. Now, your picture will not be like, I will write this, or your credit repair here. If you are a website designer, your picture should tell them what your gig, what the name of your gig is saying. Now, what your gig title is saying is what your picture also will be interpreting. It's like the pictorial part of what you put in your gig title. I hope you get me. So you can also add a short video here that describe what you are doing. We are still talking on that same service, that your gig. So this picture is very important because it is it's the first thing people will see on your gig. It is so glaring that they will see it. So please make sure you do this very well. Your pictures can be the picture you put on your gig can be the reason why people will want to buy your service. Okay, so after that, you click on publish. And after publish, you can see it's alive, and you click on done. Now, when you click on done, your gig will be out there. Now, it is very important to get this part right, because if you didn't get this part right, all the introduction that I've done so far will just be a waste. This part is very, very important, because this is what we determine. Maybe the buyer is going to buy your gig or not. This must meet the buyer's requirements. Okay. Thank you for listening. I think that will be all for now.
Okay, thank you very much for that, for that session. This is actually a really important session, because in the way that you set up, it's going to be how you can effectively bring buyers to look at what you are selling. Okay, so this is a really, really important piece of it. So thank you very much, Peter, for that. And if you can please stop your sharing, we're going on to the next section, which is closing sales on Fiverr. Okay, so the buyers have found you and they now want to get your services. How are you going to close it? Closing the deal is very important. Okay, so we have Latanya that's going to talk to us about that very important piece of selling your services on Fiverr. So Latanya, if you want to, let me just make sure that I have you as a co-host, and you can share your screen. And you are welcome. And thank you very much, Peter, again, for that very informative information that would help us to kind of set up a really good profile.
Latanya, you can unmute now.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
Good evening.
Evening.
You can go
you all
ahead and
hear
share
me,
your
please?
screen.
Give me a
Yes, we
ready
can hear
response.
you. You can go ahead and share your screen.
All right. I'll be talking about getting jobs as a beginner on Fiverr. Yeah. A moment, please. Let me get around this. Okay. All right. To get jobs on Fiverr requires two options. First is
Rostana, your network is pretty bad. I don't know if you might have to reconnect.
Maybe while we wait for Lieutenant, if there's any question, we should entertain that.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that while his and while we're going through too, you can input your questions in the chat, and we'll be answering them as we go along as well. So if there's something that you have a question on, you can input it in the chat and we'll answer that. So again, this whole series, it's about economic freedom, right? Because economic enslavement is one thing that impacts everything about our lives. And so, this piece is about economic freedom that would free us, from a lot of the shackles that face in Nigeria today. So, Latanya, it sounds as if your network is spotty because you're coming in and out. Yeah, you're still coming in and out. We're still not able to hear you. We can see your screen, but we're not able to hear you. So maybe I can, maybe if you, maybe I can show the PDF from here and then you can just talk to it. Maybe if you don't have the sharing, that would make it a little easier. Tanya, let me go ahead and share the PDF so that way you can, it might be easier for you to speak. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, Latoya, see if this is better. I'll share it for you. You can just tell me when to move on and see if that makes it easier for you to speak.
By such for you.
Okay, we're still having issues with we're still having issues with the voice. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can. Maybe you can step away and come back in. We'll just have a discussion while you're gone. If not, Ayo, maybe either Dre, can present it. So, Latonya, go ahead and drop off and come back in. It's almost as if he can't hear us either.
Yes, I'm trying to get across to him.
Okay.
Maybe while we wait for him, let's just do the question and answer section. Dre and Peter can answer the questions.
Right. So if anyone has a question, you can just raise your hand and we will answer the question, or you can put it in the chat and we will answer the question as well. Okay, it looks like everything is, everyone understood.
Okay.
What was being said. So again, this series is talking to you about freelancing. Freelancing is simply being able to offer your services, right? And in this case, you have to know that there is an opportunity for you to offer your services and where you can offer those services, right? So we are really excited to be able to bring the young people. As you can see, everyone that is presenting is a young person from Nigeria. And they have been doing this for a while, and they've been doing this successfully, because in our freedom fight, economic freedom is so important. It gives you access to healthcare, to good schools, to clean water, right? It gives you access to not to be enticed by 1,000 naira to vote for a politician who will now go off and earn $500,000 a year. Okay, so you guys just need to be able to be to be focused on what we're trying to do is make sure that you understand what's out there. Okay, so that you can you can know exactly what's going on. Okay, I see from David. David was asking a question as to what this series is about. Well, David, this is about freelancing. It's about being able to provide your services to the global economy. Okay, so it gives you the opportunity to be able to earn outside of Nigeria. It tells you about, you know, this specific series that we're doing this week and next week is on Fiverr, Fiverr, and it walks you through how do you set up your profile, you know, how do you put out the information as to what you're going to be providing to the buyer. And the third section that we're getting ready to talk about is how do you now close the deal? So the buyer has now contacted you on what your service is. How do you close that deal? Okay, so that's what this is going to be able to provide to you, is to give you that economic independence, you know, because we're in a situation in Nigeria where economic independence is very oppressed right now. And I see Ayo, you have your hands raised. Were you trying to say, Tanya?
Lutana is back, so I was thinking we should allow him to try his mic on.
Okay, let's do that.
Good evening, everyone.
That's much better.
Very better.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me in once again.
Okay, let me just make
All
sure.
right,
Thank you. Host.
Yeah, you're
we can just proceed with the training if
Oh, okay, I think will you be able to share your screen, or should help you share your screen?
I'll be able to share my screen from here. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Let me just make sure that both of you are co-hosts.
Yes.
There's two of you out here now.
Okay.
You have cloned yourself. So while we're waiting, Dave, if you have any further questions, you can post it in the chat and we'll answer it, or we can answer it at the end as well. Okay.
Okay, please, a moment now. I'm getting everything set up again.
Okay, that is fine. Yes, David, in answer to your question, we had some issues with the recording. It's kind of going in and out, so we're going to have to put it together to make it one, because for some reason, some of our hosts, we're not managing their mouse. So we'll try to put it together, but not to worry, David, next week, and this is for everyone, so tell your friends, this is kind of like a trial run just to make sure everything is going to work and everyone works out their nerves. And as you can see, the young people are doing extremely well. So next week, we're actually going to have a working session where, you know, when you come, you will have your system up so that you can actually get yourself set up. Okay, so we're going to have this again next week, and we'll have a lot more people then, since we're kind of working through the kinks for this maiden voyage. But I am so proud of all the young people. I really am. You guys are doing a fantastic job. So join us again next week when you would actually go through the process of getting yourself set up, you know, going through choosing your categories and things like that. Okay. Okay.
Good day, everyone, once again. I'm hoping that the network glitch has been sorted out now and we can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Thank you. Now, so far, we've learned about Fiverr as an online marketplace for selling our skills. We've learned about how to create a profile that will be found on Fiverr's search engine algorithm. Now, the next thing we should do is how to get the jobs. After you've made a polished gig, after you've made a wonderful profile, how do people find you? How do you get jobs and how do you get paid? I'll be taking this session for the next couple of minutes. My name is Lutan Nanuforo, and it's pleasant to meet you all. Now let's dive straight in. To get a job on Fiverr, you're either going to go through the buyer's request section for beginner, or you would be found by a buyer through the search option. If you've created a good profile, if you've done your search engine optimization on Fiverr, and take, for instance, you're an article writer, when a buyer searches for article writers, your profile should pop up amongst the different freelancers on Fiverr. But we are starting with a buyer's request. So first up, what's a buyer's request? A buyer's request is the section where buyers are allowed to present their projects for freelancers to bid on. The screenshot on my screen, I wonder if you can see it clearly, shows a sample buyer's request. This is an actual buyer's request from a buyer on Fiverr. He says here, I want home renovation / remodel articles written. I have a number of topics that I want written about, and so on and so forth. If you look just beneath this text, you would notice something: articles and blog posts. Please, can we see the screen properly?
Yes.
All right. Are you seeing the articles and blog posts underneath his request?
Yes.
Yes.
That's where the cursor is, yes. And you can see the duration, 7 days, budget, $358, criteria not available. Now, what this means is that for the buyer to fill a request, he has to fill a particular form, and all these details are required. First, Fiverr would like to know from the buyer what exactly you want. What kind of skill will you be needing for this project? They want to know how long are you willing to wait to get a complete project. They want to know how much are you willing to spend on this project, and what other specific information will you be adding so we can help you find the best available freelancers for this project. Some other things I'm not showing here, things like a buyer can search for only buyers that are online, for instance. Could search for buyers by country, could search for buyers by different parameters. Now, if you're going to succeed on Fiverr, one thing you should learn is how to think like a buyer, even when you're a seller. You should learn to think like someone that would need your service. What would this person want? That's the best way to hack into the mind of the buyer, to present yourself as the best possible freelancer to get the job done. Now we know what the buyer's request is. The skill you sell on Fiverr should solve a problem. Okay, the way it is, if there's this particular syndrome, the imposter syndrome, that we've been hearing about in different places. What it means is sometimes you don't think you have the sufficient skill to execute a project. You don't think you're good enough. You think people see you as being excellent at something while you are struggling with it, when in reality you're actually very good at it. So you should understand as a freelancer or as someone with a skill that when people come on Fiverr to request for a service, it is because they need your help. They either cannot do it themselves or they don't have the time to do it themselves. It means that you are valuable. When you understand that, how you present yourself to these people changes. The mindset with which you respond to their questions change. For instance, if somebody needs an article written, it is either because he doesn't know how to write articles that are worthy of reading on the internet, or he doesn't have the time to put together a good article. He needs help. So you think, how can I solve this problem? It's not just about writing beautiful words. It's not about creating just a beautiful logo. You have to think in a way that you're solving user-specific problems. That's the mindset to approach. That's the way to send a response to the buyer's request. And that's just about how to sell yourself on Fiverr. Think as a problem solver. How does this my skill translate into solving problems? Now, the best way to sell yourself, according to marketers and researchers, is through storytelling. Now, how does storytelling work in the buyer's request section? To start with, what is a story? A story is simply a narrative that has a problem statement, the process it took to solve the problem, and the solution to the problem. That's basically what a story is. Statement of problem, process involved in solving the problem, and the solution, or the part that has the solution. And that is the very best way to sell yourself on Fiverr, thinking of yourself as someone solving another person's problem. Okay. Are we still listening in?
Yes, correct.
Yes, we are.
All right. So when a buyer submits a request in the buyer request section, different freelancers from all over the world are allowed to bid on this project. I'll give you one tip right now. It is always best to respond to buyer requests when they are early enough, when you're seeing that the number of freelancers that have responded to that query are not up to, say, 10, for instance. Because if a buyer has about 25 people already talking about how they can solve his problem, he must have already found the solution to his problem in one of those 25. So I'm going back to the previous slide. I want you all to see how many freelancers have sent responses. 195 offers sent. This kind of request, you should already know that the buyer has found a good freelancer if a freelancer fits to write the article for him. Now let's go on to how to write a compelling buyer's request response. It's very simple. Are we on the same slide?
Yeah, you're still on buyer's request.
Okay, because I noticed I changed here, but please a second. They have.
Yeah, you can stop sharing and then share again so that you can get back on track.
Okay. All right. But in the meantime, I'll keep talking about buyer's request and how to make good.
No, just go ahead. I mean, just go ahead to the next one. If you want me to, I can share my screen so that you can stay on track.
All right. I think I've sorted that out now. Apologies for the
Okay,
glitch.
there we go. Mhm.
Yeah. So you notice from the buyer requests that buyer was very direct, went through to solving his, stating his problem or her challenge or their needs. Now, the first thing is, think of this like you're sending the proposal to someone for a contract. How would you go about it? In this scenario, it's not as formal as sending a proposal, but you still have to be as professional as someone sending a proposal. So right now, what you first do is to introduce yourself professionally. You may go ahead with stating your name, preferably the name or your Fiverr username. After stating your name, you should also state the skill you have or what you do on Fiverr that's relevant to this buyer's problem. I'll be going between two slides now, just so you see how to send a request, a response that the buyer would find worthy of sending a response to or contacting you for. Now, you introduce yourself professionally, state your skill sets, and address the problem. Go as early as possible in addressing the problem, because these buyers will see as many as 100 offers, and they may not have all the time in the world to skim through or to read between your lines. So the earlier you state how you're solving their problem, the better for you and the buyer. Now, this is a sample. This is from my own profile, a response I sent to a buyer that triggered her to send me a message. You can see here she stated that she needs someone to make all of her social media and online presence consistent in content, also to update her real estate website content. Remember, I said you should introduce yourself professionally. So my presumption here is she already knows my name from seeing my profile. I didn't have to state my name again. That would be taking unnecessary time at this point. I went straight in. Hi, mentioning her name. Thank you for reaching out. I am a communication strategist with experience in refining and streamlining content for brands and organizations. Okay, so here I've stated what I do, which is relevant to what she needs. She needs someone to make all of our social media and online presence consistent in content. It takes a strategist to arrange everything such that it makes a lot of sense to anybody. Now, I've also told her my experience in that regard. I've worked with government agencies and private sector as well. As I will help you consistent in your content and appearance by working with you, understanding your audience and your business goals, using tools and resources to create uniformity. This is the crux of her request. She wants someone that understands social media and knows how to make everything consistent. And that's the work of a communication strategist. Let's go back to the previous slide to see what else should be in a good response. Have you worked on a similar project? And how does your skill solve the problem? To start with, how does your skill solve the problem? Okay, so great. You're a good article writer, and she needs an article writer. but how does your particular skill solve that problem? As an article writer, you can say you understand the essence of keyword research and would go the extra mile in researching keywords that are relevant to the website content, ranking high on social media. You can say, if she needs a logo, for instance, you can say you're a logo designer, you have understanding of brand management and strategy, and you would create a logo that not only fits the brand, but is memorable by people. When people see logo, they want to see something they can easily remember. And that's like something you can tell someone that needs a logo, that you would make it memorable. That's solving a problem of visibility, for instance. Next slide. Let's see what's on that. Yeah, I closed with. Now, Fiverr is an online marketplace, meaning we would hardly meet our clients in real time. And this is a request he's making online. Most times, the job of a communication strategist can be in person, not remote, because you need to coordinate different teams together. And I'm saying here that distance will not be a barrier with what I said here. I wrote here that, what's this? Then I'll help draft and implement a content style guide inclusive of brand voice, personality, and word bank. All of these will be documented so anybody can pick up and implement in a simple process. I've solved the problem of being distant from the site or her business. I've solved that geographical problem by saying I would create a document that anybody can pick up and implement. It also makes it easy for her. Means after this contract, she could easily give it to another person to build on. She could give it to a social media manager. She could give it to a logo designer or writers to continue from where I stopped. And of course, she would find that impressive enough. Now, close with enthusiasm. Remember I said if you keep things professional. So if you're drafting an email, if you're writing a letter to someone, there's always a close to it. And you cannot just drop off at any point. It's lacking in manners to do that. So here I said, kindly reach out to me via message so I can walk you through the process. I'll be elated to help. Kind regards. So if you're sending a buyer's request, don't forget, if you want to send a buyer's request response that will get noticed, don't forget these tips. Introduce yourself professionally. State your relevant skill. Tell the buyer how your skill will solve that problem. This is the most important part of your buyer's request. You have a skill that the buyer needs. Okay, but how does that help the buyer? Go over how your skill will solve that particular problem. If you've worked on a similar project, it would be great to include your experiences, as it will give you a leverage as a professional. Moving on. Okay, so that's just about that on sending a response to your buyer's request. Buyer request section can be found close to your profile page. And another tip I'm giving you at this point, which I think you should note, is there are different hours at which buyer's request pops up on Fiverr. It is not always there, depending on your skill set. For writers using the Greenwich Meridian time, the best time to look out for buyer's requests is sometime around 7 o'clock in the morning. Yes, at that time, there are so many requests from buyers. You can just, you may get as much as 100 requests from buyers at that time, 7 o'clock in the morning. Between the hours of 7 to 8 in the morning, you get a lot of requests. As for other skill sets, I really cannot say because I'm a writer on Fiverr. Now that you've learned how to send a response to buyer's request, remember I talked about profile lookup some slides away from here as a way to get job on Fiverr. Yeah. It's not in all cases that you have to send a response to buyer's request. If you've done your gig ranking properly, you may be found by buyers who will message you After clicking your gig, if they're interested in you, they'll message you requesting for your service. And one other skill you should learn as a freelancer, or even for someone working with humans, is psychology. It is important to understand how people work, how people communicate. It's important to understand this so you can relate better with them, so you know what they need without them stating all the details or without them expressing all the fine details. So yeah, let me just run over closing sales on Fiverr. If a buyer reaches out to you via message and tells you he needs so and so, or she needs so and so thing, it is always best that you respond using the same sequence as responding to a buyer's request. Now, the buyer's reach out, you don't need to introduce yourself by your name, but it will help to state how your skill will still solve that problem. That's like the most important part of your freelancing profile. Now, closing sales on Fiverr, you need to know how to negotiate as a freelancer on any platform. Negotiation is a basic survival skill. If you don't negotiate well, you will be treated poorly by many people. Also, you should understand how to price your skill, understand how offers work, and building a good work structure, a good flow of work that will not be inundating for you. Whenever a buyer sends you a message requesting your service in your inbox, not on buyer's request, in your inbox, you should ensure that you have all the details for that project. If I'm using an example of a logo, for instance, if a buyer needs a good logo, it would help that you understand where the buyer is coming from, what the logo is needed for, what kind of, all the details you would normally ask for a project like that. It is important to get all the details correctly. This will help save trouble of having to review the project over and again, or having to get into disputes with the buyer. One other tip I'm dropping off at this point is Fiverr has a bias towards the buyer. I hope we got that right. Fiverr has a bias. They tend to favor the buyer over the seller. Now, here's why. The buyers are the ones bringing money to the platform. The sellers are only making money off the platform. So if you were to run the business, you would also want to take sides with who brings money in, right? Without understanding, you should learn to treat the buyers like eggs. Please, at this point, I would like you to take over sharing my screen. My system is off. I hope you don't mind now.
Okay, let's see.
Yes. My screen may go off at any time. Okay. So ensure you ask questions, request for details, be thorough in your request, so you don't make mistakes, so you don't deliver the wrong thing, so you don't mess up your profile. Thank you. No, previous slide, please. Thank you. Now, ask questions. You won't get into trouble for asking thorough questions. It's better you're informed than you're working with little information and you mess everything up. Ensure you have absolute knowledge of the job. Depending on your level of proficiency, you may get jobs that are beyond you. For instance, if you're very conversant with designing flyers and you've never designed a logo before, when someone reaches out to you that he needs a logo done or she needs a logo done, and you take that offer without having a working knowledge of how to design a logo, you may turn in a poor submission. And trust me, as a freelancer, one thing you should hold on to is having good reviews. That's like the one thing that can make people get back to you for jobs. If you have poor reviews from people, you're not going to get any jobs. So ensure you have absolute knowledge of the job before you accept it. Sometimes buyers will send requests that are very sketchy in nature. You should ensure you get all the details you need before starting up a job or starting a project. Now, even when you understand what you're to deliver, or when you think you understand what you're to deliver, the buyer may not have communicated something to you or may have miscommunicated something. It is best to relate your understanding of the project to the buyer. Something like saying, if I understand you well, this, and that is what you need me to get done for you. If the buyer says, yes, we are on track, means you're on the same page with the buyer, you can proceed with the job. If the buyer is not convinced, if the buyer is not sure, or if the buyer is not on the same page with you, the buyer will inform you, no, this is what I meant, not that. And you can proceed from there. But if you make assumptions and go on with the project and deliver something, you may affect your profile eventually. Yeah, I said it earlier that good reviews are very critical to your profile as a freelancer. On Fiverr, they use a rating system of 5-star. And for you to progress, because when you start, you're starting as a level 0 seller on Fiverr. For you to progress to level 1, level 2, and keep getting better jobs, you will need to maintain a rating of at least, I think, 4.7. And that would mean that out of, say, 10 buyers requesting your service, you've delivered satisfactorily to about 8 of them, and you deliver something excellent, but not exactly what they expected to, 1 or 2, nothing more than that. So think about this properly. Wouldn't you rather deliver a 5-star project to all your clients? Consider this tip as well. It's always better to lose money than to lose your rating on Fiverr, because you can always make that money back. But if you get poor rating for the next 1 month, it would affect your profile. Trust me, talking from experience, it would affect your profile. Yeah, so please don't forget, when you're negotiating as a freelancer, ensure you have all the details, ensure you're on the same page with the buyer. Make sure that you and the buyer agree on the timing as well, because when you deliver late, you would run into trouble on Fiverr. Please, next slide. Okay, these are screenshots of a repeat buyer I had on Fiverr a while ago. You can just go through the conversation and see that I've implemented every single thing I said in communicating with this client. He reached out to me. This was not through buyer request. This was through a search he did that my gig ranked for. So he reached out to me requesting for a profile for his business. And I gave him the details, told him what he was to expect. I ensured we were on the same page, and then I proceeded with the project. Yeah. Maybe at the end of the training, I could share some screenshots differently, but let's just go on to the next page, the next slide. Yes, so pricing yourself. When it comes to negotiation, some people get scared of, naming what they think they're worth. I'll tell you something. On Fiverr, let me say, the first time I heard about Fiverr, I was told that it's an online marketplace where you can sell your skill for $5. $5 doesn't sound so much for earning, but if you're spending $5 from your pocket, it's not little money. So for the freelancer, don't limit yourself to thinking that you won't earn more than $5 on Fiverr. Of course, your starting price is $5. Not necessarily has to be $5, but it could be more than that. What they're just trying to communicate is with as little as $5, so a buyer can get his job done, and you can earn as much as $5 for the simplest skill you have. It means then that if you think you're proficient enough to earn $100 for whatever skill you have, go ahead to price your service at $100. Now, before using ridiculous pricing on your services, you should know your proficiency. If you're a beginner web designer, you're not supposed to be earning as much as a senior designer because you won't even be doing the same kind of jobs. The tools you need, the resources you will need will be different. And the kind of jobs you get will also be different. So the effort you're putting in won't be as much as that of a senior designer or that of an intermediate designer. If you're an article writer, the same thing applies. If you're just branching out into writing, you don't expect to be earning as much as someone that's been writing for the last 10 years and has had about 500 clients working with him or her. Yes, so I say here that price is a function of your proficiency, the average market value, and the detail of project. Different projects have different scope. A 500-word blog post is different from creating documentation for a full website. It's different from writing microcopy for a software, for instance. These things have different prices normally because they would require different level of proficiency and skills. They would require you using different tools from Microsoft Word to using Google Docs to using Figma or Sketch. So just a good way to get a hint on what to price your service is checking what other people are naming their price for the same service. Remember that your proficiency is very important. If you're a beginner, it may be outrageous to charge a particular amount. And if you're a senior, you have the privilege of charging a particular amount and you still get people to pay you that amount for your service. And that's where the average market value comes in. Do your research, check on Fiverr. There are people that are doing this similar gigs to what you're offering. Check how they price your services and you can get an idea of how much you charge for your service. Now, upsell is a way of increasing whatever sales you made on Fiverr to the same client. For instance, a client requires one blog post from you, and you know you can do that easily. But what you get paid for doing that blog post is a little, say $10. And that's the price you place on your gig, $10 for that article. If you're proficient at, say, researching images, you may decide to upsell that, okay, I'm creating an article for you, but I would also provide you with images that would go with this article for so amount. It is allowed on Fiverr. You can keep doing it. You can keep adding other things like, okay, I've done an article blog post for you. I can also do social media captions. If you want me to, I'll help you manage your social media page. These are upsells you can make on Fiverr just to improve your sales. That's an option you have on Fiverr. You can upsell, you can keep adding to the one gig that you've sold originally to your clients. If you check that previous slide that has my conversation, you notice I tried upselling another service, creating brand identity for the client. He needed just a business profile, but text. So I told him I could also help him get done the brand identity design and the graphical design for the profile. That's just what upselling is about. It's another way to earn more on your profile. Thank you. Now, we've discussed everything from creating an account on Fiverr to seeking or searching for jobs on Fiverr. Now, one big question is, how do I get paid from using Fiverr? And there are two major options. Next slide, please. Yeah, I've actually discussed this already. But I'll get back to this. All right, getting paid on Fiverr. We have Fiverr uses two fintech solutions, Payoneer and PayPal. Payoneer is a payment service that also gives some an ATM card. Yeah, you can withdraw from anywhere in the world using your Payoneer account. PayPal also has they're also a general merchant that help people receive payments. Now, the difference between PayPal and Payoneer is your Payoneer allows you about 3 different accounts in 3 different currencies: United States dollar, Great Britain pound, and euros. And yeah, euros. You can do your research on Payoneer and PayPal, but if you ask for personal preference, I would use Payoneer because of the different accounting options they give. Plus, if you're a Nigerian, you know that PayPal is very much limited in use. To have a PayPal account that receives money, you need to have a registered business in Nigeria. Any other way is null and void as far as Nigeria is concerned.
How are you?
Please, can we go to the previous slide?
Oh. Yes, hold.
Previous, not next, previous.
Oh, sorry.
The one that has price, work, and structure. Yes, yes. Okay, so I skipped this earlier. Now I was talking about negotiation and selling your skill on Fiverr. There are things that you should consider. All buyers have a budget. They have a purchasing power that they probably cannot go above. So you should, before taking on projects, make sure it's something you're comfortable with. That is one way to guarantee that you yourself will be delivering an excellent job when you're done. If you take on a job, probably because you need money urgently, you take on a job that would take your time and won't pay you so much, you may lose motivation to do that job as time goes on. You may deliver a subpar job at the end of the day, and it will tell on your profile. Because of course, reviews are what keeps you afloat on Fiverr. Then always deliver your best. No matter the circumstances, no matter how difficult it is dealing with a client, it helps when you do your best, commit to doing your best for the job. Fiverr takes a lot of effort to gain good traction on, and you don't want to just throw up all that effort in the ocean by delivering below quality jobs. You'll get negative reviews, and negative reviews will derank your profile with time. But when you deliver excellently, you'll be happy to present your work to another person. Also know this tip about delivering good jobs. One psychological trick to get into the mind of your buyer is when you deliver the job to the buyer, tell the buyer the process it took you to get that job done. Explain your efforts. That way you'll be more appreciated. And this has worked for me from personal experience. I've had a client that I did one job. The buyer was going to buy just once and leave Fiverr. But when I explained the process it took me to create the content for him, he ended up ordering my service 3 times over. He ended up paying more than he paid the first time, and he referred me to some of his friends. So if you deliver a job, don't just stop at that. Tell the buyer, all right, you asked for, say, a 300-word blog post. I went on ahead to provide 2 images for you alongside the blog post. I did research from so-and-so website. Explain the process you took. When you take that time to explain the process, the buyer would appreciate and value your effort, and it will make you stand out on Fiverr. Trust me, it works every single time. Now, be helpful even beyond the project scope. You don't necessarily have to charge your client for every single thing you do. Be nice as a human. I mean, it's just normal human, it's just our culture to be nice. Be nice to people. Provide help beyond the scope of the project. If the buyer requests for something, and take, for instance, you notice something is wrong with his website, if he wants you to add a plugin to his website, you could just freely do some search engine optimization for him and let him know that you did it. When next he needs something done on the website, he will remember you and get back to you. That's one way to retain clients on Fiverr, by going the extra mile to be of help to them. Now, excellent work brings clients back for more. This is always true. In my case, I've not had many different buyers, but I have had consistent repeat buyers on my profile. They keep coming back because there's a standard I deliver that I don't go below, and I always over-deliver. I don't promise them so much, but I always over-deliver. Which takes you to the next point. That's when you set a standard, stick to it. If you are this good at what you do, please try to maintain that pace. Do not go below it, because you've set an expectation for your clients. So if they come back, they want that same standard again. Even if they're requesting a different gig from you, they'll still want you to put in that amount of effort in the next gig. It also means that if you know you cannot keep up with a particular standard, do not start out with it then. Next slide, please. Okay, I've talked about receiving payments through Payoneer and PayPal. All you have to do is to link your account on, you need to create an account on one of these, Payoneer or PayPal. Then you can link it to your Fiverr account. So whenever you get paid for your job on Fiverr, you withdraw it to either PayPal or Payoneer, which from PayPal or Payoneer you can withdraw to your local bank account. These two options allow you to link your local bank account. If you're in Nigeria, you can link your Access Bank, your Wema Bank, your GT Bank, and if you're in USA, you can link your regular local banks like, I don't know, maybe Robinhood or whatever you use, your First Century Bank and the likes. Yeah. Next slide, please. All right, so you've learned how to create a profile. You've learned about the opportunities that abound on Fiverr. You've learned how to search for your first job, get your first job, how to respond and communicate with clients. You've also learned how to receive your money after payment. But how do you keep up with the with working on Fiverr or working as a freelancer? Here are some tips that have helped me over time. Promise little, deliver more. I did say this earlier. When a buyer reaches out to you and requests your help, you can state how you solve the problem, and you're not going above that. But at the time of delivering the project, it helps when you go beyond what you told the client you would do. I've said it before, this will make the client remember you as a spectacular or phenomenal person, somebody he or she would want to work with again, and they will definitely come back to use your service. They would even be willing to pay more for your service. So when you promise little, just promise them that you could help them solve this their little problem. But at the time of delivering it, make sure you're delivering more than what they expect, especially as a newbie on Fiverr. That's one way to gain traction. Then the next step is pay rapt attention to client requests. If they want you to make a correction, ensure you understand the correction they're asking you to make. If they say they want something, read between the lines, make sure you understand them. It still goes back to relating with them what you think they asked for. Okay, you want a logo design with green color, so and so. Make sure you get into the fine detail. Do you want it to be olive green? Do you want it to be camouflage green? You know, that kind of a thing. Just make sure that you grasp everything that they've said, everything that they need from you. Don't be in a haste to send a response. Try to understand before replying. Time management is also essential on Fiverr because just about any project you do on Fiverr is time bound. You either have to complete a project in 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week. Make sure you stick to delivering your project on time. If you know that it will take you, say, 3 days to complete the project, it is best to say you would need 5 days or a week to complete that project. Because, I mean, we live in a real world where things come up, unforeseen circumstances. So if it will take you normally 3 days to complete a project, something may happen. Say your system goes bad or you fall ill. But if you extend your delivery time, it negatively affects your profile. Whereas if you requested for more days from the onset, you would have enough time to check and balance and still deliver on time. Also, if a buyer is expecting your work in like 2 days' time and you deliver beforehand, it also makes the buyer see you as a serious, committed person. And everybody wants to work with a productive, a serious, a committed person, right? So they'll come back to you for more and more and more. Keep learning, yes. You're starting out on Fiverr as a beginner in maybe your skill set. Maybe you just learned data science. Maybe you just learned data visualization. You've not learned how to explore data, how to break data into bits and create meaningful interpretations from it. You just learned how to visualize data. Over time, you would realize that your work becomes redundant. You need to learn more. You need to acquire more skills to stay relevant, even on Fiverr. Some years back, Fiverr did a section writing for games. Around that time, I was taking a course on writing game scripts. It came in quite handy at that point. So if you keep learning, keep improving yourself, you would keep staying relevant on Fiverr or on any other marketplace you find yourself. It even helps in your career to keep learning. Don't stick to the old things you know. Trends change every day, and as a freelancer or as somebody working anywhere, you need to stay relevant. Next slide, please. Aside Fiverr, there are many other opportunities to freelance. The first trainer talked about Upwork, talked about peoplepowerguru.com, but these are my top 3 favorite sites to freelance. They are the ones I've tested the water and I know how good they are. Upwork is an alternative to Fiverr. It started as Elance, but eventually merged with Odesk. Like I said, they are very much similar in nature to Fiverr. There are some algorithm differences, there are some usage differences, but at the end of the day, you see a marketplace for freelancers, and it is highly reputable. Matter of fact, some specialists will tell you you start out on Fiverr and then you graduate into using Upwork. I don't know how that works. Some people start on Upwork and they stay true to Upwork, but if you've learned if you've learned the hack of using Fiverr professionally and proficiently, you could easily make it on Upwork. Upwork deals more with invitations, and now they've also added the project catalog category, something similar to the gigs that you do on Fiverr. People per Hour is also another platform that that's good enough and has traction. There are a lot of people buying different skills every second on Upwork and People per Hour. This is more reason why I would take them over many other freelancing platforms. You should know that for every gig on Fiverr, I think the Fiverr says something around every second about 11 gigs are sold every single second on Fiverr. It means people are always coming to the site to look for services. Same thing applies to Upwork and People per Hour. People are always looking for services on this platform. But if you go to some other distant platforms, you may not get enough traction. Your profile may be redundant. And LinkedIn is another underutilized freelance platform. It's not just a platform to build your career, it's a platform from which you can get remote jobs, freelance jobs, and the likes. I have explored this option and I'll tell you for true that they could help you. As a Nigerian battling the miserly economy, as a youth in any part of Nigeria that's learning different skills, as a graduate, undergraduate, or whatever level you are, it is important to develop your own skills and find how useful you are in the market. You know, freelancing may be to you a side hustle. To some people, it's their career. That's what they want to do for life. It's important in this critical period that we are in Nigeria, you know, to explore options. You don't necessarily need to travel out of the country to get your own share of the windfall. Thanks to the gig economy of which Fiverr, Upwork, People per Hour, and other platforms are a part of, you could earn as much as somebody living in the United States. And if you are in Nigeria, you understand that the currency difference would give you an edge in Nigeria. I really appreciate the time I was given to take this training. I hope we've learned a lot. If you have questions, please, that'll be a good time to attend to them. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for those who have stayed with us. You know, we did run a little bit over because we had some technical difficulties. So we started a little behind, but great job to all the young people that did the presentation today. This is really great information. And again, next week, Nigerian Christian Lives Matter, Freedom from Nigeria, Middle Belt Republic, and the Yoruba Professional Foundation that is bringing you this economic freedom series will have another series next week, and we'll focus more on a working session where, you know, people can come in and actually create their profiles and get their questions answers as they're going through that, so that they can, you know, be up and running. But again, thank you, everyone. I sent out information as to the www.freedom from Nigeria, where you will get more information about the freedom struggle that we're in to free ourselves from unitary Nigeria. I also posted out the referendum that you can sign, and also get other people to sign if they don't have a phone. These are things that we need to do to be able to drive, you know, more countrywide these economic freedoms that we're talking about. As I said earlier, Nigeria is so rich in not just natural resources, but also our intellectual, you know, capability. And so this series is to take advantage, is to have our young people who are trained, who have just the right skill sets, join the global economy and start being able to stand and to demand that we get our freedom. Okay. And so that starts with you. So Aya, thank you so very much for getting all the young people who did a fantastic job. And this is just the first series that we're going to be having on Fiverr. We're going to have, digital marketing. We're going to have other presenters that's going to be talking about other things, how to look for things on LinkedIn. There's also a great deal others for those who are more high professionals, where you can provide other types of services. So thank you all again very much. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Grab 5 people, grab 10 people, let them come join us. Again, this is our mating voyage, so that I can see how our young people did. I'm very impressed. They did extremely well. So thank you all again, and have a great weekend.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
So if you guys
Okay,
want to, everyone can unmute if they want to say hello to.
Yeah. For
so
anybody that has
can
questions,
unmute. Yeah, if you want to ask questions, we can do that now.
we can do that now. Yeah.
But I think, everyone did such a great job in really going through and explaining what we're trying to do. Donald, do you have any suggestions or any comments?
No, no, not really, but we've done very well today. So I think probably next week, having gone through this process, and we now understand the different the sequences that should be followed. So we should prepare a lot better, bring in more people, and also the presenters should have their lectures outlined so that we do not possibly say exceed 2 hours. So we have 1 hour presentation, 1 hour questions. So we have the interactive section where a lot of people are going to ask their questions.
Right. So yeah, next week, again, we're going to actually make it a working session, so people can actually be on their computers or on their phones, actually setting up their own accounts on Fiverr. Yeah. So if they have questions or anything like that, then they'll be able to ask it at that time. So again, I've asked everyone to unmute. So if you want to ask a question or make a comment, this is a time to do that. Or else we will be ending. I see Ite, you have joined us. Do you have any comments about the session for today?
She's listening from church. I don't know if she's going to be
Oh,
able to answer.
I see.